Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to have one of the really big cheeses here in San Antonio as far as economic development is concerned. And that, of course, includes tourism, which is Jenna. So good morning, Jenna.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Good. Well, this has been an absolutely splendid IPW. The last time I was actually in San Antonio was 40 years ago, and the city has changed somewhat.
The city's changed drastically over 40 years, but
Yes.
welcome back.
But you wouldn't know that, of course. But the fact of the matter is, it has changed a great deal, and as I can ascertain, it's for the better. I think, as far as tourism and travel is concerned. But you're in charge of economic development, and I wondered if you could tell me, what's the logic, what's the strategy going forward as far as tourism is concerned in the city of San Antonio, given that it's already one of America's largest city. I think it's 7th in the league table.
It is. So the city of San Antonio is the 7th largest city in the country of the United States, but it's also one of the fastest growing. So over the last 2 years, by way of population, San Antonio was the fastest growing city in the country. So we're tracking that. We're proud of that, but we're also working to make sure that that growth is thoughtful and that it's smart. And so as it relates to tourism as a part of our economic development strategies, first and foremost, tourism is about a $15 billion annual economic impact for San Antonio. So it's one of our largest industries alongside the military, alongside bioscience and healthcare and manufacturing. So it's extremely important to us. And we integrate our strategies. So I lead the Regional Economic Development Organization. I happen to chair Visit San Antonio this year. But beyond that, operationally, our organizations work together to bring the world to San Antonio and also bring jobs and investment to San Antonio as well. So they go hand in hand, and we work together quite frequently.
It must be difficult control, I would think. You're a rapidly growing city. You have a one of the major attractions of San Antonio is, in fact, is the downtown area, but it's very small. It's you've got the river walk and so on. Are you concerned about over tourism, about growth? What's your feelings on that?
I'm not at all. So I also happen to be a native San Antonian. So I'm as local as it gets here in San Antonio. But, we benefited from having the military invest in our market, hundreds of years ago. And so from a highway infrastructure perspective and even real estate, we're a bit spread out, probably more spread out than I'd like for us to be, but we're also in the state of Texas. But we have plenty of room for growth, and we have the infrastructure to accommodate it, not just roads and highways, but energy, water. We have the infrastructure to accommodate the growth. Now, what we are working on is, as we grow, we want to maintain that authenticity that makes us uniquely San Antonio. And that's something that we have, that we're keeping our eye on. But we have plenty of room for growth, and we have a pro-growth local government and a pro-growth local community that is behind Visit San Antonio and Greater SATX.
Yes, uniqueness is a good brand credential to have when you're in tourism, I think.
Indeed.
I noticed in Hemisphere Park, I was walking around there on Sunday afternoon, and there was a great deal of resident involvement, community involvement about what's going to be developed. Lots of strategies for environmental friendliness, making sure the water's recycled and so on. Is that typical of a strategy in terms of economic development around here?
It is. It is. What's interesting in San Antonio is we have what we refer to stateside as a strong manager form of government. So we have our elected mayor, elected city council, but we have the continuity of city government in the form of a city manager and city staff. In fact, they're about a 11,000 person operation here in San Antonio. And so as it relates to development, whether it's residential or it's commercial or you name it, we have these strategies that are long-term in nature and not dependent on any sort of election cycles. And so the approach to Hemisphere, as an example, that is probably the best example of a P3, of a public-private partnership, that is replicated with, the Pearl is another good example of that, and anything that's happening with Southtown. So the short answer to your question is yes. We are very, as it relates to the way that we think and make decisions from a sustainability perspective, that's paramount for us. But I think that local element of it is probably most important.
Okay, final question. 10 years' time, what's your vision for San Antonio?
The vision for San Antonio is centered around our people and who we are at that time. And I like to say, you know, we're over 300 years old as a community, but I genuinely believe that we are writing our story now. We talked earlier about some of the innovations ongoing in San Antonio, and I think over the next 10 years, we are going to define that vision. And I think that, again, that's what makes San Antonio unique. It's not my vision. It's not the mayor's vision. It's not the governor's vision for San Antonio. It's about the vision for San Antonians and our people. That's what's made us unique for 300 years, and that's what will make us unique in the future.
Very good. Very, very good. Thank you very much, Jenna.
Thank you.